Called to order. I would like everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Lieutenant Glover to start us in this.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Lieutenant. We'll move on to roll call, please.
Quisenberry.
I am here.
Nivell. Here. Brooks. Here. Green. Here. Hayden.
Here.
Randazzo.
Here.
Mold. Here.
Okay, that takes care of roll call, all accounted for and present. Moves us on to the approval of the agenda. As usual, number 13 is adjournment. It's always our goal to get to number 13. How quickly that takes is sometimes differs meeting to meeting, but it is in fact our goal. With that in mind, the other items through 12 are the currently set agenda, and it looks good to me unless anybody wants to change anything on this agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for Monday, June 24th, 2024 as presented.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, next we have to approve some minutes. The Village Council met on May 13th, 2024, and those minutes are in our packets. I'd like to do these one at a time just because they are separate documents. Anybody get a chance to review the May 13th?
Make a motion to approve the Village Council Budget Workshop meeting of May 13th, 2023.
Support.
Should that be 24?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We might have had one last year too, but I don't think we've,
Yours says 23.
may not have been on that day.
Oh, whoops.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item B is our regular meeting minutes of May the 20th. Anybody's had a chance to review those? Yeah, and those were in 2024, so we're at least good on that one.
Make a motion to approve our regular Village Council meeting of Monday, May 20th, 2024.
Support.
Okay, the meeting of May 20th has been moved. It's also been supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Our two meetings, the workshop and the 20th, have both been approved and now become an official record of the village. Item 6 is acceptance items. These are things that we receive in our office on a regular course of business, and it isn't necessary that we approve them, but it is necessary that we make mention of them. It's the Planning Commission of May 6th, the DDA of May 20th, an invoice from our lawyer, and a finance report, also revenue and expenditure report. Both of those reports are from May and June of 2024. They're listed A through E, and they are all in our packet for review. I took a quick glance at them, and they all seem fine to me. So, at this point, without any other questions, we will just accept those items, and item 6 now of acceptance items is now concluded. Leads us to approval of disbursements. As a municipal village, we spend money every month, and it is up to this council to approve the disbursements of that money.
Make a motion to approve our disbursements of $30,465.02 for the dates of May 15, 2024 through June 15, 2024.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. If I could have a roll call vote on this.
Nivell.
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes.
I have a quick question on that one.
Okay.
For the trees and flower beds, there's two amounts for the village and then the DDA. So for, that is the percentage that the DDA pays towards the flowers, or is that what they paid towards the trees that they got in with the grants? Anybody?
So that's the Visa bill. So those were two separate items paid with the Visa card. The much larger chunk of that was the just over 6,000 for trees to Ray Wiegand's nursery. And then flower beds were some other like fertilizer and
But
things like
are
that.
the trees the ones the DDA did, or that was on a grant, I thought?
It is, yeah, we gotta buy the trees first and get reimbursed.
Okay, so the reimbursement of that will be coming down the pipe.
It'll be, I think it's September that we submit for reimbursement.
Awesome,
It
thank you.
coincides with the state's year end, yep.
All right, good deal. That was moved and supported, and a roll call vote was held, and the disbursements passed. I'm going to back up for a moment, back to item 6, which is the acceptance. I listed off A through E. In our packets, we also did get, and I want to make mention of it, because they are acceptance items, and it is the Historical Society minutes, as well as the IT committee minutes.
Yeah.
So those two were in acceptance items, but they were not listed on the front page of the agenda. Maybe these came in late, I'm not sure, but nonetheless, I want to make mention of the fact that those two items are acceptance items, so they would then be F and G in terms of acceptance items. It's not necessary for us to make that change, but I wanted to make a note for all the council members so they were aware.
Thank you.
Next up, we did disbursements. Next up is public comments. We actually have some people that came to the meeting tonight. It's always nice to see people that come here. Who would like to speak to the village council about a matter of their choosing? Yes, sir. If you don't mind, if I'd like to ask you to come on up here, just state your name and then you'll have our attention.
Jack Britton, my wife Julie Britton. We just moved in on Mill Street, I believe last August. Just a concern, speeding on Mill Street. The signs aren't working, the electronic signs.
Is that over by the creek, where the...
Yeah.
Further down.
A little
Yeah,
further,
further
about a few
down.
houses past the creek.
Yeah.
Towards M15.
Yeah.
It's a little electronic thing, and it just...
Yeah, there's a couple of them in the village.
Well, there's one on Church Street, I know, and
There
those
is,
are
yeah.
probably the two up we have.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that a maintenance issue that, Bob can look into?
Yes.
If we're gonna have them, they might as well work, or otherwise take them down.
They work.
Okay.
Yeah, they work. I was gonna
Because when those first went up, the best thing about those was that people thought that it actually took a picture of the plate. And a lot of people don't know that it doesn't, which is a good thing, so. But yeah, I've noticed that one on Mill Street's been out for a while, and I
Yeah.
know Bob handled those in the past.
Yeah. I like that it says strictly enforced, which means it's different than moderately enforced, so,
Yeah.
so let's just be clear on that.
Well, I mean,
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
I was the one who helped push those signs through way back in the 90s.
we get, the village residents, between Church Street, Hummer Lake and Mill, that's probably our three biggest complaints. And it's constant, and I can set a car at the bottom of the hill on Mill Street and one here, and it slows them down for as long as we're there, but they know that we can't sit there for hours.
Sure.
And it's difficult, for sure.
And the whole hope of any speeding or any traffic control device by state definition is to promote voluntary compliance. So the whole theory is not how many tickets can we write, it's how many people can we get to voluntarily comply with this particular request. So that's always our goal, is the voluntary compliance as opposed to enforcement, which is a little bit more of a, I don't want to call it a last resort, but at least it's not the primary function of law enforcement. It's to get everybody to comply on their own. And good work in that, at least as much to the extent that you're able. Okay, are there any other comments from someone in the audience? I see Mary or Luann or anybody? Okay. All right, good. That gets us past public. Matt, did you have, you're probably here about budget things, right?
Just here to be enlightened on what's
Oh.
happening.
Well, you're
Came to the right place.
you're unique
Yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah, you came to the right place.
I think we're all here to be enlightened. That takes us past public comments to items from trustees. If I may, Kay Green, I'm going to start down at your end.
Okay. We have held a couple personnel committee meetings lately in the wake of Ryan leaving us shortly. And Ryan's been doing a lot of the legwork too. So we have interviews that will be set up shortly. Hopefully we get more applicants and hopefully we find the right person. That's all.
All right, thank you. Linda?
I've been attending the September Fest meetings as part of the Parks and Rec, and I've been doing that to kind of champion for our businesses that are in the street, so that we are trying to still work with that committee to keep the space open. We've had some different information on who covers that, but I'm still working with them to make sure that our businesses are happy with what's going on in front of them during September Fest. So, and we also have been, Ryan, I've still been working with John. We've sent him some paperwork on what our intergovernmental practices will be, so that we will be a little more clear by year end who does what and who's responsible for what. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ashley?
Not anything fun yet, so.
Nothing fun yet.
Farmer's market's been good so far.
Well, that's one thing I was going to bring up, and Matt here as well. So, Matt, what do we have, 2 weeks of farmers market going on so far? Is there an early consensus of good, bad, needs improvement?
Good feedback from the attendees, great feedback from the vendors. Volunteers are a bit energized by the volume of people who have attended, so that's a home run to me.
Kind of going with a B+, you say, or?
We could always have more.
Okay, there you go. That's why we got to have that little bit of room for maybe something getting a little bit more improved. But thank you for mentioning that. And Matt, I appreciate your answer to that. Melanie?
Yes, so just a reminder, Ryan, we're having just an open house on Thursday from 3 to 5, just with cake and beverages. Stop in and say goodbye on his new endeavor, and this village will miss you. Just letting you know, believe it or not, Ryan. That intergovernmental agreement, of course, I was going to bring it up, but when you said by year's end, I'm hoping that that's something that is further along, but I will talk to Ryan about that. Because that should be an agreement with the village manager and the rec director, and not a committee, but I will talk to him about that. And then the spring, the natural spring coming down Mill Street, I forgot to tell you, it is popping up all over the place again. And I didn't see Bob today. That's it, that's all I have.
Okay, great. Larry?
Oh, first of all, you didn't mention about the first Eats in the Streets, but that was a big success too, I think. I was up there and it seemed to go very well. I hope some of our community members enjoyed that. SEMCOG meeting is on Thursday, so I'm not going to be able to be at that open house. But I hope Brian stays back here for the open house. I can handle SEMCOG on my own. And yeah, thank you for the comments from my neighbors there. And as a matter of fact, I had already mentioned that Brian, he's already looking into what to be done to address those signs there. So,
Thank you.
and that's it.
Well, when it comes to Ryan's get-together, Ryan may prefer the SEMCOG meeting. I'm not quite sure yet, but he's been given an excuse to miss it, and we're going to insist that he not go to SEMCOG that day.
Tigers were home, it might be a different story.
Tony?
Okay, Ryan's got it in the notes. I think he's gonna cover a little bit more, but been working on forms. We've got to make these PDF and fillable online. So that's kind of going, and just doing what I can get done in timely fashion.
Okay, that's all IT stuff, right? Perfect. Thanks very much. Just, I'll make a comment also about the food truck thing. I think in past years, we usually had 8, and I think this year we had 12. So there's been a bigger, a larger number of selected food trucks to pick from, which is obviously better for everybody. So that is, I think probably 12 might be our max. You probably hard to go much more than that, except at the high school when the fireworks are going on and that type of thing. But just for the village itself, 12 seems to be a good number. So with that, we can move past items from trustees. We can go right to unfinished business. The 24-25 village budget adoption. It is necessary for us to adopt this budget. It is also necessary that we adopt it today because we have run this thing down to the last minute, and if it isn't approved in the next few days, the budget, the village will have to cease to operate till our next meeting rolls along. We did have 2 workshops on this budget. I'm convinced that it's about as good a budget as we can get. It's balanced, and it has money in accounts that we have prioritized by this council. In any case, you know, you never have all the money you want, that's for darn sure, but you do have to make do with whatever revenue you have and then prioritize it accordingly. I think we've all done a very good job at doing that, and I recommend that we approve this particular budget.
Just a point of order, on the first page in your packet there, in the bold towards the bottom is the be it resolved statement. In order to make a motion, we'd like to read that, make sure that we note that today's meeting is on June 24, 2024, and is for a budget be adopted for fiscal year ending 6/30/2025. So if somebody wants to make it.
I'll make a motion to be it resolved by the Village Council, Village of Ortonville, Oakland County, Michigan, at the regular Village Council meeting on June 24, 2024, that the above budget be adopted for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and that the tax revenue marked with an asterisk above be collected by the village treasurer at rate of 8 mils per 1,000 taxable valuations on appropriate properties within the village. Is there a number I can say instead of the asterisk?
The general fund taxes would be $362,178.
Thank you.
Support?
I supported it.
Okay, this gets dual support, good to know. And we can do a roll call on this, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes, we're in business for another year, folks.
All right.
Way to go. That was unfinished business. On to new business. And this is a budget involves the DDA. And just a little bit of background is DDA gets their budget from, I think it's what's called captured funds from within the district itself. And they're allowed to collect a certain amount of money from businesses that are located within the district. And again, if their taxes aren't more, they just get to capture amount that would normally come to the village if the DDA didn't get it first. But they need a budget to operate on, and that's where they get their money from. So we do have a DDA budget that we are going to need to approve as well.
Make a motion that we approve the DDA budget for 2024 through 2025 in the amount of,
Actually, I never saw it.
Just say that.
446
446?
and 6 cents.
And 6
207,
cents.
446, 06. On the
that's
right-hand
right
side towards the
there. Hang on a
bottom.
minute. Say again, what was it,
Yeah, I don't-
Ryan?
$207,446.06.
And 60 cents?
And the total
Right here.
expenditures
Right here.
equal
Got it.
total revenue.
In the amount of $207,446.06.
There we go.
That's what it says here, total
And
expenditures.
and 6 cents, right, Kay?
And 6 cents, yes.
Yes,
Good
yes,
deal.
yes, yes.
Should we get that in?
That was hard to find.
Yeah, it's so
We'd have to
small.
lay off everybody without that.
I need to make it bigger.
All right, Katie did make a motion. Does someone support the DDA budget?
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. We need to have a roll call on this as well.
Can we question or?
Yeah, we can discuss it.
Okay. I had a question, and I'm hoping Matt can answer this. So, the farmer's market, the expense versus the revenue, 'cause the way I was reading it, I would rather you explain it to me, because it didn't look like we were making as much as we should be with the expenses that we're doing, but I could be totally wrong.
Are you looking at the blue column?
Yes.
Okay. So on the revenue section for farmer's market, there's actually two sections there. There is the farmer's market and there's the wholesale produce revenue.
Okay.
So both of those accounts would be the farmer's market revenue.
Okay, okay. So in that regard, it would be the 9 and the 4, shortening it up.
Kind of 13,000 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then your total expenses to run it?
The DDA has always subsidized the market manager position, contract for the market manager. So every year we're trying to generate more revenue so that that event can become self-sufficient. That
At this
hasn't
point,
quite happened
At
yet.
this point, it's a little bit subsidized,
Right,
and has been.
yes.
Is that gap seem to be closing?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, there was
Thank you.
a motion and support. Does anybody have any further discussion on the DDA's budget? If not, we can approve it, but only on a roll call vote.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Matt, you have.
Thank you very much.
Operating
Thanks, Matt.
budget, you can kind of put that under your pillow tonight and figure out what the next year is gonna look like. It takes all the guesswork out of it. Next is the capital improvement plan adoption. At both of our recent meetings and workshops, we discussed the capital improvement plan, and we went over, a lot of data regarding capital improvements, and we were provided with a lot of graphs and colors and all sorts of fancy hieroglyphics. But it does spell out some things that we are going to focus on as it comes to capital improvements. As we're aware, these things are, tied to the financial component as well, and sometimes we have extra money and this is how we're gonna spend it. And if we get a whole lot of extra money, we can really tackle some of these. But it is a plan that we have to have in place. And it's a planning document that shows that the village council is aware that as capital improvements can be made, we have a guideline before us that we can follow. Any further on the capital improvement plan, Brian?
I don't think so. But there's a planning one.
We have, we've,
How's that new piece of equipment?
It's looking good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been on the road yet.
Okay.
It looks very good in the barn.
afraid to drive it.
Yeah.
Right?
You get a car and you just leave it in the garage for a month. Okay, we have a capital improvement plan, and we do need to approve this. If there's a motion, we can move forward.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the 2024 to 2031 capital improvement plan as presented.
Support?
Okay.
Yeah, I would just like more
And-
discussion.
Yeah, sure, you can discuss.
As I've mentioned before, the only thing I would like to see is that there's more consideration in the years 2028 through 2031 for setting aside some money in the capital improvement plan for major streets and local streets. because
I agree.
It kind of drops off to nothing, and yet we know that we have to have road maintenance, so.
Mhm.
But I know this is a living document,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
After we approve this, we can continue to look at that and adjust it now.
And Larry, just so you know, I think it was pretty unanimous amongst all the council members that that was,
Yep.
that should be highest on the list. Okay, let's roll call this one as well.
Hayden.
So you know where everyone stands.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. And if anyone in the audience is interested, this is the document, and it's called the Capital Improvement Plan. It's available at the village, it's about 10 pages long, and it does indicate how we plan to plan for the future as funds become available. In some years, we just aren't able to tackle much because we're on a shoestring, but other years, we get some grants or we get some extra money here and there. And this is the perfect document for us to rely on when it comes time to spending that money. So that's the capital improvement plan. It's also in a colored chart too that, kind of highlights red and blue, and it's got some black and white on it as well. That takes us past that. Special event permit, Summer Blast Baseball, July 12th to the 14th of this year. Is it 1 year in a row? I know they were here last year. Has it
Yep.
been here longer?
That's just last year.
Man, was that thing well attended. Maybe a little bit too well attended. You may, yes. My brother would like to
No,
take
no, I
about
want to hear the
this
real
event.
story.
As the varsity baseball coach for Brandon, that tournament has grown legs. It's gotten larger and larger. It's very well run for the most part, but at some point, I think there needs to be a cap on the amount of teams that we're allowing. That tournament is a fundraiser basically for that program. And as the varsity baseball coach, we don't see any funds that come into that supporting the varsity baseball program. However, they do want to use the varsity baseball and softball field for this event. As the kids get older, there's not a district in this county that I'm aware of that just allows carte blanche use of a varsity baseball or softball field with the amount of maintenance and things that go into that. But because these kids are getting older and this tournament is getting bigger and bigger, they are having to expand the tournament, and we don't have the facilities, the amount of ball fields for that tournament as it's getting larger. And it's been a point of contention for myself and the varsity softball coach because of the use that they're trying to obtain on our varsity fields.
So where's that stand now? Are they or are they not?
Yes, this year, because it was already an agreement that was made. I have done everything in my power to squash the school district, the school board allowing outside groups to come in and use our facilities, because I know as the baseball coach, me and my players put a lot of time and effort into the maintenance of those fields. And you guys, or I should say the township, has a couple of baseball fields out at the Hadley Road Park that are not being used. And in my opinion, if these outside organizations want to come in and use these fields, then they should be putting money into those fields to make those fields what they were designed to be used for. And that's not the case.
So they don't have to pay for maintenance? Where does the money, this fundraiser, where does the money go?
I was asking,
Right.
who did they fundraise for?
For their own program, for the Michigan Blackhawks.
Okay.
And, you know, they're running a great program, but they're expanding into age groups for their tournaments that they have to use other fields for. And that's my issue. It's getting away from the Little League guys that were, you know, like
Under the lights?
Under the Lights
Yeah.
tournament, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's a concern for us coaching varsities,
So our
and with
school
the amount of
gets no
people that's
money.
bringing.
Our students don't get scholarships, nothing comes here locally through this.
Not that I'm aware of. Now, there might be something as far as field rental use through the school board, but it's my third year, I haven't seen a dime put into the varsity baseball program, and neither has the varsity softball coach. So it's a fundraiser for them. And, you know, as that tournament gets bigger and bigger, we don't have the streets or the parking for an event like that. And that's why I say at some point, I think that when that permit comes around, there has to be some parameters put on this before it gets too big.
We're at this point now, so we're good for this year, but wouldn't you recommend that as soon as this tournament is over, that, you know, the management people who run this thing get to be made aware of the fact that it's run its course and we can't accommodate them?
That's my personal opinion, yes.
Well, I mean,
Because
We can't.
yeah, I mean, the money is not being put into the varsity baseball and softball program. And even though these kids are eventually are gonna be at the high school level at some point, but where are those funds going now? I mean, they're not putting any dollars into our fields that I'm aware of.
But I would say as soon as this one is over, they should be kind of put on notice that, to start looking somewhere else, so that it's not next
I
April
agree.
when they find out that they're not, you know, gonna be permitted to be here.
I totally agree.
Okay.
How many, and I know it's a fundraiser, so they're not gonna say no, but how many teams will they say yes to?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Because on here,
It's
it
just getting
doesn't,
larger and larger.
yeah, it doesn't even indicate how many teams. Is there a way to stipulate this with an
Well-
amount of people for this one?
Well, it's too late now because they already have the
Right.
teams involved in it, you know. But like the Gladiators tournament, which is the Under the Lights tournament, I denied that permit originally this year because it specifically stated that they were gonna use the varsity softball field.
Yeah.
And I said, not with, you know, where did you get that approval? And the varsity softball coach come down to a happy medium because I denied it completely and it was gonna devastate their tournament. And then they came to a happy medium for this year. But as this Michigan Blackhawks program grows, it's a problem because, I mean, we have two fields sitting out on Hadley Road that that kids should be playing on now. And because of what poor shape those two fields are in, nobody's playing on.
Well, it's unfortunate that we're getting this in our packet tonight when we haven't had a chance to be able to have a conversation or communicate in some way that they are limited on how many people that we can actually accommodate in the village and on the fields.
Yeah, I've allowed those teams to use our JV field, which is the old varsity baseball field on South Street.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it continues to grow and expand, and now they're having, because of the age groups, they need to use a varsity field.
Yeah.
And I've coached baseball a long time, and I've never seen any area allow the use carte blanche of their varsity
On their
fields.
varsity, when they're not getting any money.
Right,
Yeah.
so.
So as far as you know, this is not going through our Parks and Rec at all?
They're aware of it. They are aware of it.
Well, we're not getting the money, so Parks and Rec is.
I don't know, I mean, that's what I'm wondering,
Yeah,
if
the
Parks and
village
Rec is
does
aware of
not
this,
do this.
because I don't know, yeah, if, is Parks and, I just wondered, I'll have.
Yeah, the
we'll have to
Parks and
talk.
Rec is aware of it because they're using the fields in town,
Yeah.
as well as the old varsity, the field that you can see off of South Street. But that's also now encompassed the varsity baseball, varsity softball, and JV softball field. I mean,
Is it a two-day event?
I believe so.
Right in your packet, it's a 3-day,
Friday
Friday
It's
and
free.
Sunday.
through Sunday night, and it says
Yeah.
8 AM to 11 PM,
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday.
I'm curious about parking, because I know they asked on Facebook to rent people's front yards and stuff to park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't,
Well,
I live in
Wow.
the vicinity of.
and what I say about that,
I'm
and that's,
curious if there's gonna be a parking.
and from a law
situation
enforcement
or-
issue, that is, this is not downtown Ann Arbor,
no.
you know, in front of U of M,
Yeah.
Michigan Stadium.
This is like, why are we
And-
getting this so late then?
On the fire department's part of this, they've done a really good job of parking down there on Ball Street. But the problem is, if the larger this gets and the more people that show up, you start getting parking on both sides of the street.
And then you
We
can
don't have
fire
parking
trucks
lots for it, and you can, if you have to get a large fire apparatus down through there, it's not gonna happen.
It was tight the last
So-
turn.
So how is that working? Can I ask? They're going on
Right.
Facebook saying, can I rent your front yard? Is that what's happening?
Yep. I don't know if they have any takers or not. I haven't seen a new post in a while. It was a while ago.
Not our church parking lot.
Yeah.
There's that, and there's also the,
Is there no?
the school that's not a school there at
For free, but.
the Harvey Swanson.
I was
I just
wondering,
know
I
it's
thought
not
that
taken
we
for-
passed an ordinance, our new permit, that says that if we do have expenditures like
Right.
people at the fields and stuff like that, that we can charge them back to events like this.
Mhm.
Well,
We
they-
did, but
Is
it's
that
Parks and
considered?
Rec, and that's why we need the intergovernmental agreement.
Agreement.
Well, they're asking, I mean,
Wait a minute, is
to-
this, who submitted this? It wasn't a governmental agency, it was.
No, Parks and Rec will take any kind
The
of
township.
money for the township,
Yes.
The Township
Right.
Parks and Rec.
but we
But I
don't
mean,
have
if
an
they're using our
agreement,
village
right?
fields, we should
We
be
should.
able to put something on.
Absolutely,
the use of
we
the
Well,
village
it's a
field.
little
Right.
late
Well, there's-
to the dance.
That's what I've been
right
fighting
now.
about since 2022.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what I thought our new ordinance addressed, is that we can charge for.
well, this isn't
services.
there's not a township
We're just
field being
using
used except for the high school fields.
Yeah,
Right.
But if they're
They're
using our
using
fields
village
here,
fields.
that's where we are for the use of our fields, and we should be able to.
I'm just
charge
saying,
them something.
it's a great program, but it is getting larger and larger as far as how far. And what happens with travel baseball is there is a fee charged to each team that's coming to play in that tournament, which is probably a minimum of $400 or $500 per team. So that money goes back into their program, as it did mine
And
when I
nothing
was coaching.
stays here. Locally, well, I don't know what the.
And I,
Not that I'm
you know,
worried.
one concern I would have is that you have 3 days,
We don't-
Friday
Parks and
afternoon
Rec, yeah.
until 11 PM, Saturday from 8 AM to 11 PM, and Sunday from 8 AM to 11 PM, where you have all this activity, all these people are gonna be parking around there, and it's not the event that's really for our residents, but it's gonna potentially inconvenience a lot of our residents
It's-
with all these cars parked.
It is for for the township residents, in one way, because 98% of those kids are Brandon students. That's what that Michigan Blackhawks program is about. It's all kids from Ortonville, from the rec program for the most part.
I think what happened in the beginning is, what was his name? Fred. It was small to
Yes.
start with, and he said, sure, go ahead and use the ball fields. And now it's just grown to,
It's just got,
it's outgrown
it's
itself.
too large.
One other possibility would be if they figure out some way to get some kind of shuttle bus and have them park at the library parking lot there and shuttle
Right.
them up, or some of the school parking lot and shuttle them.
Yeah.
I just want to bring to attention, section E, as in Baker, entry number 5, it says rental charge facility fee, special events which are exclusively sponsored by private or profit organizations shall be charged a rent facility fee for use of public areas and fee appropriate by local ordinance.
And they are, the Brandon Township is.
No, it's us.
It
That's
just
our
gives the
problem.
village the authority to.
It does give the village the authority
Okay,
to
good.
do that,
So
but we
can
didn't
add-
do
we
it,
can
so.
add the fee onto this. And then,
It's a-
so you reviewed this?
We
and
can
did
review
you-
a permit with conditions, and one of the
Yeah.
conditions can be you pay us a fee.
Yes.
That's
All right.
determined by this body.
So when this came in, did you talk to this organization about it?
No,
Andy, it's right there, Andy sent it.
What are you talking about?
Right there, 5B, 35.
Uh-huh.
They have, I
it's in
mean,
the agreement.
it's in the agreement, they didn't read it, that's on them.
But we haven't told them what that would be.
That's, I believe that's supposed to be part of the process, though.
Yes.
If we determine there are fees, we go and
Yes.
take them back to them and say, this is what we've determined the cost.
Yes,
will be.
and you can only have so many teams, and you have to park at the library and get a shuttle, and, you know, those are the
I mean, we can
stipulations.
approve the stipulations.
But now it's coming to us, and you said it's, why is it too late? Why
Well-
is it too late to deny this?
Well, the problem is it would put, because those teams have already committed to this tournament.
Yeah, but we
We don't
haven't,
even meet again. We're
We
way
haven't-
late in the game.
Right,
But
it's way too
they
late
haven't
this
gone through
year.
approval.
We got to approve it.
Or not.
They haven't gone through the approval
Well, then we
process.
cancel the, when we cancel the event.
It would,
We can't.
it would force a cancellation of the event,
Yeah.
literally, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure we
that's-
want that.
that's- yeah.
Because it is for Brandon students.
I know, I think it'll-
However, I think next year, there needs to be a much more in-depth look at how big this tournament has gotten.
And I would have to say that after this tournament, that, you know, we
I agree.
get a committee of a few people and meet with them and tell them what we're gonna want if they're gonna continue in the future.
That's why I want to know where the first contact was, because if they get first contact and they move forward, and now we're last contact,
Yeah.
we had no opportunity to
We had
discuss
none.
some of
We
these
had
issues.
absolutely
That's
none.
replacement.
So we
that's where
need
they
to,
go.
yeah, we need
Yeah.
to get on first contact.
But if we had an intergovernmental agreement, we
but
would
we
have been the first contact if that's chosen, or they would, and they would let us know.
Well, we had a similar
Depending on who.
situation with the 5K run, because you were already going out, signing everybody up before we had even approved.
I know it.
We had asked to make some changes because of the fact that there were safety concerns and stuff, and that really caused problems, because the sponsor was already signing people up for something that hadn't even fully approved.
Yep.
Can I ask a question? Does anyone know if there will be designated areas where they can park and not park, like no parking on this side?
Well,
Does anyone know?
in the past, we've allowed parking on one side of the street.
Okay.
And we have not had, but one year, I think we had issues with it, and it was minor, and we went to the heads of the tournament, and they, it was either, we basically said, hey, you move the cars or we're gonna impound them. Well, nobody wants a impound fee, so they move the cars, and so it works out. And we're not there to impound
Right,
people's
right,
cars,
of course.
but, so they move them. So that hasn't been an issue for the Under the Lights group, which is a much younger group that flat out plays on the fields here on Ball Street. This one has gotten bigger with the age groups. So.
He says this only goes up to 8, 9, and 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I think it's expanded into some. That's possible, but we don't have enough. There's not enough fields in this township, so you have to expand onto other fields, and
Maybe
that's
they're
what the
only
issue
going
is.
to be putting the 8, 9, and 10-year-olds here, and the
Up
other
here.
ones are going to go on other.
Oh.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that
exactly
could
that's
be.
what it is.
Yeah, because any bigger and you're hitting over that.
They're hitting over the fence, I saw them.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Are they gonna fix the dates, Ryan, for the logistics at April?
The typo,
Okay,
Which one are you referring to?
the Porta Johns.
for the Portage
Okay.
licenses, April 19th through April 20th?
Yep.
Okay, we have a special event packet. We have to either approve it or deny it. It's my recommendation at this point, we approve it.
Can we approve it with a stipulation?
No?
Yeah, well, you can, but then we have to vote on it.
Yeah, well, a motion and a support and a vote.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve for this year only the, what are we calling this little guy again, sorry? The Michigan Hawks Fast Pitch event, Summer Slam, for this year only. And, that next year's approval will only be based on communication with the village that benefits both village and the Super Slam. Summer Slam, sorry.
Don't you think maybe that's something we, the village council, should work out with the township?
Yeah.
And no matter where they apply, both places then would know.
Yeah, but once we get that, and that's why in 2022, and no one gets this, no one understands this. That is why if we would have had that agreement we would know who's taking care of it, who gets paid, who limits the amount of teams. We have no logistics for that because we just go off the seat of our pants with this gentleman's handshake that we've had for years. And that's why every meeting I say, where is it? Last meeting I asked for a rough draft at this meeting.
But we can't have an approval, it seems.
Based on
it
something
seems-
next year.
Yeah, I said we have to either approve this to happen this year, I don't think we can tack something on next year.
We need
On
to
this
support
year's.
on her motion before we
Yeah,
start
then
talking
decline
about
it, and then make a new
Nobody else-
motion.
Nobody else support your motion.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
So if we're in
Okay,
discussion.
moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Yeah, if we're in discussion, maybe rather than making next year's approval contingent on something, perhaps put in the stipulation to have some kind of a required post-event review where we can meet with them and discuss the requirements we would like to see for next year's. You know, if we
That's fine.
included that, then that way we could say, okay, yeah, we'll do this as long as we have and maybe even a pre-event coordination meeting, so we can coordinate it before and work out any details to help make things run better this year, and also a post-event coordination meeting. That would be what I would suggest is include a couple meetings so we can make sure that things are good this year and also are prepared for next year.
I think that needs to be put in.
That motion
Yeah,
needs to be
paperwork.
changed if that's what you want.
Here's what I'm gonna suggest, is because that motion sounds like 6 different motions rolled into one. Why
Which one, the
don't,
one I did?
all of them, there's
No,
just,
I
each
understand.
one of them
I
has
did
somebody,
one,
and then he
Well, there
has
was
some
only one.
comments.
There was
about
one
it.
motion.
One motion, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right,
Aye.
Okay, motion failed.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Well, we'll do a roll call, because I couldn't count how many ayes.
That was supposed to be a name.
I think it was a 4 and a 3, so.
Yeah.
Four and a three. Well,
Nivell.
I'm gonna just ask for a roll call
Yes.
instead.
Brooks.
Oh, no,
Green.
No.
Hayden.
No.
Randazzo.
no,
Mold.
no.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, the motion goes down 6-1. We'll have to send a letter out to these folks and let them know that they're,
Can we?
Well, I have another
No,
motion.
No,
if
we
that-
don't.
that's
Now
just one
someone has to
motion.
make a new motion.
I make a motion
okay.
Yeah.
to approve the Michigan Hawks Fast Pitch event with the stipulation that they have a pre-coordination meeting and a post-coordination meeting so that the event activities can be planned for this year and also reviewed for potential next year's event.
Well, I'm curious with how that motion is any different than the one that just got 6 no votes.
It is different.
It is. I'm asking for a meeting to define things rather than making next year's.
You're asking for a village council meeting with
Not
these
a,
people.
not a village, okay, I should.
Yeah, I don't know who you're asking, you know, should do that.
Yeah, because the township does their thing, we do our thing.
Okay, then I would say, with a coordination meeting with the village Parks and Rec Committee, pre and post, to review the event prior to and recommendations after the event.
And I would just say we could insist on those things whether they were in the motion or not. And we do have the authority to do that. We are gonna see a special event packet come in next year. But as I mentioned to Greg, as soon as this year's done, some groundwork better be done to have these changes made.
Right.
And I think that's where that's gonna come from. They still have to turn this packet into us prior to 60 days, which we didn't get in this chance. But now we're too late and we're stuck with what we got. We will make many, many changes when it comes to next year's program, whether we include it in a motion or we don't include it. Either way, Larry made a
anyone
motion,
supporting
somebody
that?
support it?
I'll support it.
Okay, roll call vote on Larry's
I
motion.
just have a discussion moment a minute.
Okay,
Well, and this event is taking place in 3 weeks, which means we all have to be available sometime in those 3 weeks to have these meetings, but like the pre-meeting. And I agree with Ken a little bit that what we need to do is just approve it, swallow it, and make sure this doesn't happen next year.
that's
And I
what
don't think we
to
need
do.
a motion to do that, I think we just need to do that.
That's what we need to do.
And that's when Ryan and I started meeting on some of this, and Melly's calling us intergovernmental, I said, I think that's where we've got a new rec guy, I'm new to Parks and Rec, and we need to get on the same page. And we have just started working with them on, this is something where we've got to figure out how we work together to benefit this community.
Right,
And-
but you have to understand, this was asked in December of 2022.
I'm not going back to 2022. no,
But Linda, but you
Melanie,
can't ignore what the council has been trying to, we have been asking every month for this to happen. And whether it was Fred or the new Parks and Rec director, and there's no reason for it not to have been
Melanie,
done.
I've had
This has nothing to do with you.
I've had months to deal with this. I know, but
This has
you're
nothing to
asking
do
me to
with you,
deal with
Linda.
something that happened in
No,
2020,
and you
but I
shouldn't be
can't.
part of the, I'm not asking you to do it. This is a Ryan and a director of, agreements have nothing to do with
We're
trustees
talking
on a
parks-
committee.
if we're
Linda
talking
is the-
Parks
the
and
park-
Rec. I'm the Parks and Rec.
Right,
director,
and your job is to come and let us know what's going on.
and I'm
It's-
trying
It's
to
not
not-
to write the
I'm not-
agreements
I know, but I
between
wanna
communities.
talk with the people at Parks and Rec and get on the same page with them, so we are mutually
Brian has
beneficial
been though.
to
Have you
this
not, Brian?
community.
Well, we don't have an agreement right now, Melanie, that's the
Right,
bottom
and
line,
that-
we don't
that
have
I
one. So let's
know.
move on and do what we're gonna do here.
Right.
But that's all I'm saying, is all these extra meetings, I just think.
They're not for you though. The agreement is not something for you
Well,
to
my
do.
motion, if she's Parks and Rec person,
Well, let's,
that's direct impact.
let's just say that the discussion on this is over for now. If, I'm going to ask the clerk to read back the motion as best she can, because it did seem to have some confusing points to it. So, what the motion and support that started this discussion is what? Is what?
Is a meeting with the Park and Recs Committee pre and post to this special event.
But didn't it begin with the approval of this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
But, I mean,
Was that?
For next year, right?
This is for this.
the pre is to coordinate for the event for this year, and the post is to review the event and provide feedback for next year's.
So who plans on meeting with these guys in the next week?
Should be the office.
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay.
It shouldn't just be the office, it should be
If-
Linda
If
and
this is,
whoever
if
else.
this is
I would
the
like
issue,
to
I
do
can
it, yeah.
withdraw my motion and let somebody else make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the special event packet as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Roll call vote on approving this package.
We need to vote on Larry's motion first.
I just
He
said. I
removed
He removed it.
withdraw.
He removed
Yeah,
it.
I'll just withdraw my motion.
Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
No,
Mold,
Yes.
Nivell,
No.
Quisenberry.
Yes, motion passes
Okay.
5-2. This
No.
permit is now valid for the upcoming event, which is going to be held on July the 12th.
Alrighty,
Uh,
thank you.
We can entertain other things that have to do with approving these, and we can put it on our next agenda if somebody would request that. And we can make that its own standalone measure. Update to personnel policy, item D. Ryan, you're going to update us on this, right?
Yes, you've got the rough draft of a new policy to be added to the personnel policy. As we've discussed previously, current village employees receive a wellness stipend paid quarterly that is intended to be used towards health items. This new version would lock in a health insurance provider for village employees and give employees the option to opt into health insurance through that provider. Those who opt out would receive an opt-out stipend that's smaller than the current stipend. And it would not impact current employees. It wouldn't go into effect until January of 2025. Current employees would stay right where they are unless they want to opt into the coverage and would be applied that way. I have sent it to our attorney. We have volleyed a couple ideas back and forth, but have not received the final version with his seal of approval on it. So at this point, it's a discussion item. It's a first read kind of item to solicit input from trustees.
Okay, we're not voting on it, it's just informational at this point, and at some point, it will become part of the personnel policy should we vote.
That's the plan.
Okay.
I would like to give some discussion feedback on it if I could.
Yeah,
So my understanding from the way I read it is that our current stipend amount would instead, we'll essentially be paying the same amount, but we were paying it towards the premium for the insurance. And then the remainder would be taken out of the employee.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that that would be something that we could adjust and increase if we wanted to, but it wouldn't be something that would automatically go up just because the premiums go up, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because that's the only
Good
thing I want to
question.
make sure of is that, and I don't mind seeing that increase at our decision, but I wouldn't want to see it increase automatically just because insurance costs go up, so I think that sounds like that.
Right, and it's developed to a fixed amount, rather than, and if we'd rather see a percentage or things like that,
I'd
it could be
rather
discussed.
see it fixed amount,
Okay.
and then we can shop around and try to find a reasonable price for employees as contract. Most companies do that.
okay, this was just informational only, unless someone has a question for Ryan about it, we will see this again when it comes up as an action item.
Please send questions my way if you think of a matter.
Okay, takes us past that, proposal on Narren Street project. Ryan, I think Bro did some work for us, and we're just thinking that this is informational only as well.
No, we get to vote on this one. We
Yeah.
commit to it.
It's a commitment.
Yep. Shared electronically with council is the contract from Rowe as well as their proposal for services showing the scope and all the things related to the Narren Street project utilizing MDOT small urban funds. It has their timeline and things like that as well as all the costs associated. We don't share it in the public package just because if we decided not to go with them and had to put it out to bid, it's not fair to them if we've already put out their numbers and somebody else might try to underbid them. So that's why it's not there yet. Yeah, the goal is to approve the proposal from Rowe Professional Services for Narren Street.
Remind me again, was it because of the amount of money we moved that this was the only project that would really fit where you could get the most bang for our buck right now?
Most bang for our buck for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
It originated as the Oakwood Road project.
Yep. We were
Remember
able to
that.
move some towards this. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Edward Street's really bad too.
That's also in our budget
It is.
as well. Yep. But not using small urban funds. That's why small urban, there's a couple extra hoops to jump through, some certifications and Eagle permits and things like that, regardless because it's federal money. So you got to
Yep.
do your NEPA and SHPO and all kinds of interesting reviews. So it takes a while to work the process. That's why it comes
Thank
to us
you.
now. And the goal is to let it as early as possible. So probably February 25 so that the work can happen in May or June of 25 as early as possible.
All right, thank you.
Now, is the total 170,000 that we want to approve? Or do you exactly want us to approve? Which,
The proposal as presented, it,
Yeah.
28,750, so that's not
well, okay. But if we're committing, we're committing, so how much is?
Okay. I make a motion to approve the proposal from Rowe Engineering for the Narren Street project engineering as presented.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. We did have some questions before the motion, so I assume everybody asked what they needed to. If not, you may ask now, or I will have this take into a roll call vote.
So how much is a small urban fund? The actual grants?
it's in here. It's I want to say it's just under 70.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
what I read.
That's the,
And that's
okay.
the small urban group decides that. We get a pot of money to split
Yeah.
between the village, Brandon, part of Groveland,
Right.
part of Atlas, part of the village of Goodrich are all part of the small urban group, and that gets split several different ways.
Okay. And there's no match to the 70, there is a match, or we have to,
It's all in the small urban it spells out what the small urban money can be used for. And it's construction costs only, so we get to do engineering and all that good stuff.
right, but no match to the 70? The
And
70?
it's not exactly a match,
Oh.
it's a portion of,
Okay.
and yeah.
Oh, the
do bring us
20%, I got it.
26,
Okay, so-
But it's a portion of the construction cost.
Okay,
And I'm pretty sure it's a percentage and we get the rest.
yeah, the 20%,
It's spelled out in the agreement, I
Yeah.
can share it on the
okay.
2606 form that I've submitted a couple times.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out then what exactly you want us to make a motion for, which monies right now?
We were just gonna approve the project as presented.
Yeah, the project.
Just the entire thing? Okay,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Well, that was motioned
Well,
and
this is-
supported, so we can roll call it.
All right,
This is supporting contracting row for the engineering portion of the project.
just contracting them, not any of the, okay.
And as well as the scope of services and
Yeah.
things they do and.
I just want to make sure that we will have this in our capital improvement and that we are, with all, whatever numbers start coming in with Row and what they're doing, that we are committed to this. Because I just don't want to see another Mill Street episode where there's, hundreds of thousands of dollars and then it sits. So I want to make sure we actually commit and go through it and it's something that stays on the capital improvement. We have five seats being changed, so,
This can be on capital improvements, but it's in this year's operating budget.
yeah,
This is within it. and
just that
This is part of
grant part.
this proposal is part of the budget that we just approved a couple of items ago.
I know, but Mill Street was always in the budget too, is what I'm saying, so I just don't wanna, and this was before you, is all I'm saying, Ryan.
Okay, roll call, please.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Mold.
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes,
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Next up is village staff update. Any update on, Ryan? Our new DPW guy started?
Paul did start a week ago.
I've seen him.
He's off to a good start. Yeah, I invited him tonight, but they had a long day planting trees.
I did see them doing that,
Yes.
all over the village.
All over. The other item is in your packet.
Right, we had a chance to see that one as well. And it coincides with this party we're having on Thursday from 3 to 5, right?
Yes.
The two items are related.
Indeed they are. I don't know if we need a motion to accept or anything else or what, but
It wouldn't hurt.
Well, you're saying you wouldn't go if we didn't?
I said not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Did not.
what? Because I didn't realize that was an option.
You're not agreeing.
Yeah, your packet has my resignation letter in it, so. there you go.
Okay, and as president, I received a original copy of that about a week ago from Ryan, and it was presented in accordance with our personnel policy. That is the village staff update. We can move on to the village manager report. 2024 election update. We did get in our packet a little thing that says if you are interested in a position on this village council, there are 5 seats that are available. It'd be easier to name the ones that aren't.
Yeah,
I'll still be here.
I'll be here.
Okay, Larry and Kay are not going to be on the ballot this year. Everybody else is. So, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, get out some bribe money, whatever you need to do to convince some of your neighbors that being involved in local government is one of the most rewarding things they can do. Also, it's the source of.
That's funny.
Sell it any way you want, you know, I mean, it definitely needs to be sugar coated, that's all I can tell you. But talk to them and see if you can get some interested parties to
Sign up.
to make a race out of it.
Was it really so bad when you were on council with Kay and I back in the past?
No, I was there for a number of years, so it couldn't have been too bad.
Yes.
It's not something I want to repeat.
Okay, that's, now that we're done with that, packets are available at the township clerk's office, which is right across, right behind this wall here. They will give you an envelope that has everything you need to know, along with the petition and the number of signatures that are required for each position. It also has some information from Oakland County Elections Division about rules and regulations for circulating petitions and for just procedures that meet the Elections Division qualifications.
When is the cutoff, Ken?
The cutoff is
July 23rd.
Oh, July 23, okay, I thought it was June.
That would
for
be
some
when
reason.
the, you can pick up packets now, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
due in
Yeah.
on the
They're
23rd.
due
Right.
on the 23rd.
And you could pick it up on the 21st and run all over the neighborhood and get all kinds of signatures, but it might be easier to do it
Yeah, to register.
A little bit ahead of time.
Yeah,
County,
very
so
small.
it might take them a little time.
a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like
And-
the clerk's office is very helpful, helping understand how to get forms filled out.
Yeah, they are helpful.
And Rosalind Blair is the Brandon Township Clerk, and she again is really helpful if you have questions.
She is
about it.
helpful.
So that takes us past the election. Old Mill Agreement, Ortonville Community Historical Society. Ryan tells me that we've had an agreement since 1988, and that over the past 30 years or so, it's become somewhat outdated, so there is now a new agreement between the village and the Historical Society regarding the building.
Yeah, it's not quite there, but it will be in the next couple of weeks. You'll have it for your July meeting. You'll have President Miracle here to present and discuss as well. Whether
Okay.
she wants to or not.
Cool.
Exactly right.
Next, Sherman Park update. As we all know, Sherman Park is where these ballpark, where these ball fields are, the two Little League fields and a couple of T-ball fields.
It only took 10 years to get here, but hey.
5, but who's counting? Concession stand work is underway.
So glad.
You'll see more in the pretty near future as soon as garage doors and other items begin to arrive. And we've got a first draft shared to the Township Parks and Rec Department of an intergovernmental agreement. That conversation will continue as I receive further input.
Okay, that's Sherman Park update. Is there an update on the trails that we've been discussing over the past months?
Yep, the Friends of Ortonville Trails are interested in defining their role a little bit more. It's kind of ambiguous. A lot of things fall on me, and it's the goal is to solidify what their role is in trail development and promoting trail use and things like that. So we'll be getting together a couple times over the next couple weeks to talk about what that may look like.
I thought at one point we were talking about they would sustain themselves, meaning they would self-govern.
Yeah.
And
that's the intent. That's kind of the plan is, and it may be a 501c3, an independent organization that can fundraise on their own, but to have a carve out that the village and village council still have representation on that group.
Right.
So maybe it's the Parks and Rec person.
Right.
Linda doesn't have anything else going on. And maybe the village manager serves as ex officio, just like they do to this body and others in the village.
okay, good.
But things like that.
Good.
Yep. Other
Like, friendly.
very similar, yeah, different things. Other updates, working on a few RRC items, redevelopment ready communities. The capital improvements plan is a big one. We're working on orientation for new members for all of our appointed and elected roles. Working on a few other RRC items that I'm trying to get moved along before I can't move them anymore. And then as mentioned, our new Kubota M62 is in the DPW garage. never been more excited to receive a $92,000 bill. But,
Really?
It looks very good so far. It'll be of service for a very long time. So,
Is that our newest
Bob was
vehicle that we
in
have in the DPW fleet?
It's the newest by about
By about 20 years.
We have a 2012
Yeah.
pickup. These are other vehicles. And our case will be going to auction soon. That's
great.
one of the ways our policy says we can get rid of stuff is at a public auction, so it will be,
Good, good.
we're hoping it can dig its own hole before we drive it in and wish it well.
Okay, that takes care of updates, Ryan.
Yep.
Leads us to 13.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? This meeting is now adjourned.